So a Cape Town woman running a feeding scheme says that she is convinced that the man arrested in connection with the fire in Parliament is innocent. Philanthropist Venetia Orgill, who feeds hundreds of homeless people in the city, says that she met Zandile Mafe while providing food for the homeless. Ms. Orgill joins us now for more. Ma'am, a very good morning to you and thank you very much for joining us. Let's start with the work that you do and how long you have been doing it.
Good morning. I have been feeding the homeless for 9-10 years in town underneath the arch between Parliament and St. George's Cathedral in Company Lane. And yes, I have had interactions with Zandile. Many called him Christmas as a nickname, I guess, because his second name is Christmas. I don't know. But I personally have fed him. I have observed him on many occasions when he came to the line, because that is what I do. There's people that would say, Ma, this one needs help, and Ma, that one needs help. Lots were saying to me, his head is not right, and that's when I found that he is mentally challenged. I cannot say he's mentally ill, but I can say he is mentally challenged. There is definitely something wrong with him at times. Because, when there's always a squabble here and there in the line, and yet I've got the most decent, organized line, they all know. And he would just, you mess with him at times and he would just leave the line and you would say, why are you leaving? We're dishing up or we're handing out food already. And he would, say things like, no, the ancestors don't want me to have the food. And they send down the UFO. And, days like this, this is why I know he is mentally challenged somehow. But definitely not capable of the crime they now saying he did. Definitely not.
We put that question to his lawyer yesterday, Mr. Godla, about the state of his mental health, and he shied away from getting into details as that will be ventilated in court as proceedings continue. But when you say something is wrong with him at times, I'd like to perhaps find out when your first interaction with him was. You've been doing this for some 9-10 years. When was your first interaction and how long has he been there from your observation?
From my observation, he could have been on the street for about 3, almost 4 years. And came to each at the line quite frequently. There's times that they do come 1 week and they don't come for 2 weeks, and they do come for 3 weeks and they don't come for 1 week. I had times like that with him. And as I say, they're all saying now, yes, he's got a house in Khayelitsha, a room. Every homeless person has an address. That I can promise you. If you sit and listen to their story, they will all have an address. Are they now from Pretoria, Joburg, Eastern Cape, Limpopo, overseas, Germany, you name it, every homeless person has an address, somehow or other in their lives. So, but being homeless and on the street, that is where I met Zandile. That is where I fed Zandile. And, unfortunately, what I do every winter is take homeless men especially to a winter camp where we would try, and 2 years ago, what are we now? 2018 was my last camp. 2019 he wanted to go on camp with us because he wanted to get his life back. But, unfortunately there was no funding and nothing happened. And then COVID came and everything else. So, camps was closed down and we couldn't hire bungalows and things like that. So this is definitely the wrong guy they got hold of here.
Ma'am, what do you know about him beyond the 1 hour or 2 hours when you are dishing out food? You mentioned that he wanted to come to camp because he wanted to get his life back or his life together. Have you had a conversation with him beyond that time when he files like everybody else to get a meal?
Look, there's many of them that would come and say, Ma, can I talk to you? And I would say yes. And they would complain about the weak, law enforcement chasing them, or they're not feeling well, or whatever, and they'll ask advice. It's times like that that I have interaction with Zandile and his friends, and the other, I say friends because to me, we're one big family in that line. Nobody's better than anybody else to me. And they all know that. That's why they trust me so much, because Ma sees us all as human beings and not as homeless. That's why I call them our extended homeless family.
What have you heard just from everybody else in your community, as you call it? Have you spoken to them since the latest developments?
No, I have not, because many of them, we must remember, is working on the EPW. So they work during the week. I'm going into town tomorrow to just go and walk around and find out what they're feeling and what they're thinking. You know what I'm trying to say. And how they feel that one of their brothers once more is being targeted and blamed for something that is out of their reach, that is definitely not being able to handle. I've just got the news that the police is wanting to arrest all homeless around Parliament right now. I mean, what now? Why?
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much for coming through to talk to us. Ms. Venetia Orgill runs a feeding scheme, and she believes that Zandile Mafe is not guilty.